I'm going to start by showing the HDR settings that you can just turn on the game. And what we need to know to set up the HDR settings on every single game, we need to know that the peak brightness of the LG CU1 is about 800 nits. Okay, 7 to 800 nits. So most games give you the option to uh, you know have that max peak brightness luminance, and you have to set that to 7 to or 800. Otherwise, if you go beyond that, you are most likely to just clip the highlights too much. There are some games that have the sliders messed up and you might need to do 900 and then use tone mapping, but that's not very common. So right now, for example, I'm looking at this. This is too much. It's just blown up. It's too much. So I'm sure that's probably by default is more than 800. So let's check that out. Let me see where the settings are. Okay, so we go to graphics, and if you have a PS5, you might not have, or Xbox, you might not have all the settings because this is a PC, but I'm sure you will have at least the HDR settings. So HDR brightness, look at that. That's 1000 nits. We don't want that. We need 800. Okay. Well, this is this is not. Yeah, this is probably not nits. It's 0.875. So let me try that. Let me try that and see if that's going to clip the highlights the best way. So let's look at this pattern. It's telling me not visible, the left one, the center barely visible. So that's right, I can barely see the center one, and of course the right one is visible. So let's leave that black point setting on the default position. So now the white point is telling me the same. Not visible on the left, the center, I can see it, but I can see it too well. So I'm going to lower. Well, let me do this. I see where this is going. So let me have the brightness calibration on the default position, 1000. Okay, let's go to the HDR calibration now. So now I can barely see that center image. That's what we're looking for. I see too much now, the center image. But if I lower this number, then the left one becomes visible, and we don't want that. So basically what we are looking for here is to have the left image not visible at all. One more click, I can no longer see it. So that's the perfect setting there. Let's continue. Also, when we are doing this HDR calibration, it's very important that you do it with HGIG. You cannot use dynamic tone mapping to do this kind of HDR calibration. You have to either have it off or HGIG. So let's try it again with HGIG. You do not want dynamic tone mapping to do this kind of calibration because that is dynamic, so it's not gonna work. Let's try it again now with HGIG. Okay, good here. Good here. Yeah. So basically HGIG is like dynamic tone mapping off. It's like tone mapping off basically. The TV is always gonna do tone mapping, but yeah, that's just what it is. So the gamma is locked because HDR is 2.2, it's forced in 2.2, and I would suggest you, if you have a PC and you want a competitive edge, use 21:9 or even 32:9. But I tried 32:9 aspect ratio. It was too much, and the corners are stretched, and I don't like that. So I prefer 21:9 for competitive, but just to enjoy the game visuals, 16:9 is the best because it's going to fill the screen. And if you have a PC, I would recommend you to use this dynamic resolution. It's very good because it's going to make sure that you hit the target this 120 frames target. I have a 3080 12 gigabytes. So if you have something lower end, you might need to lower the resolution, or if you can use DLSS, definitely use that, and also make sure you have low latency on boost. Let me take a look at the. Of course, you don't play competitive games with all the graphics maxed out. I just care about how the game looks, and I'm not going to really be competitive or anything like that. I'm not a big fan of this new season. I was playing the the previous one where all the buildings and all that stuff. So ray tracing, yeah, it's kind of dumb to use ray tracing for competitive titles, but let's do it and see how it looks. It's probably just ray trace shadows with make almost no difference on the game. It's not very demanding either anyway. So let's see how the HDR is looking on this game. The regular HDR, and then we're going to do a comparison with the HLG HDR with HEIG. Okay, just checking the settings. Opening the game for the first time in a long time, so yeah, I'm gonna lower this frame rate target, because with that I'm gonna lower this to 90. That's good. Because I'm using ray tracing, so I don't want too low of a resolution. Let me see. Okay, let's see how it looks. Let's see the game. It's not looking very good, to be honest. It looks like too much brightness. Let's see how is the game looking once we open the game. It looks too bright, especially. Also, this is looking like not color banding, but the gradation. The gradation is not smooth gradation here. It's not looking very good. But this is not an awesome looking game, to be honest. This is just competitive, so just low latency, an engine that works with low latency, and the visuals are not something that most people playing this would care about. So yeah, I did play this a lot before, but this new season I'm just not liking the forest, the graphics, to be honest. The trees are not looking very good. I do like the clouds though. The clouds on the game are looking very, very good. Let's see what we have here. Okay, just loading the game. So I don't think that. Yeah, let's see, because maybe the problem with these games that are coming with HDR is the HDR settings are mastered. The game is mastered for 4,000 nits or more, and it's not specifically designed for your TV. So then your TV has to do tone mapping, and if the sliders are not good enough, then it's just gonna be messed up. Let's see what we're getting here. 100 frames, that's good. So yeah, that's the problem. So what that setting that I discovered, that HLG HDR, what that setting is good for is basically, yeah, but this is very good. I mean, this is perfect HDR. Look at the details on the cloud. This is perfect. I don't think the setting I have is, the HLG HDR is gonna do a better job in retaining detail. But what I think, well, the detail is not. Yeah, I am losing a little bit of detail on that. It looks a little bit blown out. Yeah, it looks a little bit blown out. So HLG HDR might be doing a better job. So let's see the game itself. Looks super bright. Probably brighter brighter than what you would like it to be, because if you're gonna be playing this for hours and hours every day, you don't want to destroy your eyes. So here inside the plane is perfectly visible. This looks very good. Very good. That's too bright. I hate when they give me this white screen because it's just blinding. So the visibility on the game is perfect. Like I mean, this is a competitive multiplayer, so they make sure it is visible to kill the enemies. So I am liking it like this. The clouds, let me look at the clouds again. So yeah, I'm liking that. It looks very good. I mean, it's not clipping the detail. It's clearly the sun is here clearly, but I see all the details on the cloud. It's not very bright though. That sun is not very bright at all. The sun is not very bright, but the overall brightness of the game, it is bright. So let me just go to the ground, take a look at it, how it looks on the ground, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to turn off HDR from Windows, and I'm going to use that HLG HDR and see how that compares in terms of the highlight detail and the overall brightness of the image. So this looks good. This looks right. I don't see any problem with this. I would like to get more pop from the sun though. Yeah, that sun is not popping at all. I would like to get more pop from the sun. It's not popping, and I see the overall brightness is too high. So I would rather have less brightness on the overall image, the average picture brightness lower, and get more pop from the sun. That's what I would rather do. So we can probably get that result by adjusting the sliders. But here's the thing. We follow the prompts, and this is the result that we got. So let's try now the result with our HLG HDR and see how that compares. Look, I'm gonna turn off HDR from Windows. We're coming back from the game, and HDR is off. Let me just double check that. Graphics. You double check HDR is off. Yeah, HDR is off. So let's do it. When we come here, settings. I showed this multiple times. All settings. We step on here. 111.3.111, and we change this to HLG. Let's see now. Okay, this is better. Period. This is better. Period. Why? I see all the detail behind the smoke. It's visible. The house is perfectly visible. It doesn't look blowing out. It was looking blowing out. And also the average brightness of the image here, it does not look blowing out. It looks right. Let's take a look and see if it's on HGIG or if it's on... Man, I this is better. I thought it was not gonna be better. It is better. So it is on HGIG. Let's see. Let's give it a try. This is crazy, man. It's every single game. It's just better. It's just better. Let's check it out. So, brightness on the default position, gamma 2.2. You don't have to mess around with the settings, nothing. You just get perfect luminance just by default. No messing around. This is looking much better, man. Much better. 100%. Like I was not expecting this to be better. I can tell you, I don't even need to enter the game. I can tell you already it's better. Why? Because, like I said, the overall brightness of the image was looking too much. And then I didn't see detail on the smoke, behind the smoke. and this was feeling also blowing out. I still see the same smooth gradation issue going on here, but that's just the game. That doesn't have anything to do with the TV. Well, it does have to do with the TV. There are some TVs that have a better smooth gradation natively, but if you get a clean source, that should not happen really, unless it's like a very picky pattern, like a test pattern or something, like a benchmark. Let's take a look at the cloud. Well, look at that. So yeah, all the detail is visible, but I still don't get pop from the sun. So I would say the brightness of the sun is about the same. I mean, maybe a little bit higher, but it's about the same. It's not, but this looks better, like for sure, 100%. So the visibility on the game it looks right. So this is not looking blowing out. It looks right, like the expected visibility you should have. And then you look at the sky and you see all the detail. But I'm not getting pop from the sun. It's, but I was not getting pop from the sun I am actually. I am getting pop from the sun. But it doesn't feel higher pop than with the HDR from the developer. But this is better. And the reason why I think it's better is because this HLG HDR is basically a gamma curve that is specifically designed to work with your TV. So your TV is converting this SDR signal and is basically increasing that dynamic range using a gamma curve that is for the TV, is made for the TV. So instead of trying to convert a bigger dynamic range and do tone mapping to get it on the range of the TV, this is basically doing the opposite. So that's why you don't need to mess around with the settings and everything looks perfect. Let's look at this. It's perfect. Look at those clouds. That's beautiful, beautiful detail on the bright area. So let's see how the game looks on the forest. This is better, man. This is better. 100%. I can tell you 100% this is better. Why? Because it doesn't look, so the average picture brightness is not higher, but on the other hand, you feel that the sun is giving you more brightness in some specific areas. So for example, this area is being illuminated by the sun and it is brighter. But you come here and the overall brightness, it goes down on the shadows. So with this setting, the way the curve, the gamma means basically the luminance curve, the things that need to be brighter or less bright, it just feels right. So you get more depth on the image. So for example here, this is not being directly lit, so it feels less brightness here. But here you see more brightness, and here even more brightness. So it gives you depth on the image. It looks beautiful. It gives you depth. I was not expecting this to be better. Not at all. This looks fantastic. So let's say you tell me, hey brother, but I play the video game this all day long, every day. I would still like this to be less bright because, yeah, this is perfect for me. But if you want it less brighter, come here, all settings, advanced settings, brightness, tone mapping off. Let's look at the highlight. You see, HGIG is giving you more pop on the sun. So don't miss that. See? So you're basically getting less. So you're basically getting, with dynamic tone mapping on, with the tone mapping on off, you are getting less expansion. You're getting less expansion of the dynamic range. Basically, you get less dynamic range. So I would use it on this way if you're gonna be playing all day long, every day, like 8 hours a day. I would use it on this way, and you still get pop from the sun. Like, for example, I'm looking at here, it's not looking very bright, but I do this and I'm getting pop from the light source. This looks perfect. Let's go to the inside of a house. Perfect. This looks beautiful. Really, really, really good luminance. Look at that. Look at that. Like I said, it's a matter of depth. You see this darkness, you see more bright here, you see the brightness coming from here. Like, it gives you like a three-dimensional feeling of the image. Like here, for example, you see this is not directly lit by the sun, so it feels darker. But then over here, you feel that the light source is coming from here and here. See, so it gives you that amazing depth. Fantastic, man. I can tell you 100% use that instead of the HDR from the developer. Why? Because I know you are going to get the setting right. So maybe if you start messing around with the sliders from the developer, you might get a result that's close to this, but it cannot be better. And you're probably not going to get it right better than the TV itself. The TV is doing the job for you. You don't need to do anything. Look at that, reflection there. It's just popping. It's amazing. This is looking beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. So there you have, brother. Enjoy your TV with this setting, man. Every single game, HLG HDR. It's the best setting this TV have. Also, I like to use the color gamut on native. Look at my color control app video. So I come here to color, I have this on native and the depth on 50. And also, very important, white balance 150. This is what you need, 150. Otherwise it's too blue. So there you go. I'm gonna end the video here.